Hello everybody, and welcome to my review of the LEGO Star Wars 75364 New Republic U-Wing versus Shin Hati's Starfighter. This set came out in September of 2023 for $110 with 1,056 pieces and 5 minifigures. With that said, let's get into the minifigures. This set has 5 minifigures which are all unique to this set. From left to right, we have Captain Porter, the New Republic astromech droid, Shin Hati, Baylan Skoll, and Morgan Elsbeth. The Captain Porter minifigure has 2 unique pieces, being the helmet and the head, but if you look on Bricklink, it will say that the body is unique as well. I personally say that it is not unique because the body and the legs are the same exact thing as the Lieutenant Beta in the Ghost in Phantom 2. The only difference with the body is that the hands are different. So the printing and the arms are exactly the same between these 2 minifigures. Now, the last part of this minifigure, being the hair, was introduced in 2021 in 20 other sets. I actually think this minifigure looks really good. I can't really tell you or not if it is accurate because I'm not gonna lie, I have not watched the Ahsoka show. Through some research, it seems like he was only in the first episode of the show, so it's kind of hard to see if it's accurate other than the picture of his face that I can see, which does look pretty good and pretty accurate to the minifigure. Starting from top to bottom, I really think the helmet looks great. The details on it are very nice. It looks very simple. I really like the dark blue with the yellow contrast on it, and it just gives off a very nice and regal feel. This minifigure has a double-sided face, one being the one you see here with the visor and the chin strap, and the other being his face without the helmet where you put his hair on. I think both sides of this minifigure look really good. It gives him a nice look, and I think the details on the face on both sides are very well done. Onto the body, I think the body details are very nice along with the legs. I like how the straps actually follow through and connect with the legs properly at the correct angle, and not like some other minifigures in the past where it is totally off-center and offline with connecting to the other parts of the minifigure. The lines are super clean, and I really like the blue and white contrast that this whole minifigure and set has. And lastly, the back of the minifigure's body, nothing too crazy, just some simple lines and detailing, and I think it looks very good. Other than that though, the only things I can really point out is on the back, when you're wearing both the helmet and the hair, you can see a little bit of the other part of the face on the other side of the head, being the little chin strap right there and the bottom of his beard, as you can see here. And as long as you're not looking at the back of the minifigure, I think this is fine, but it is something that they should think about, but something I also think is unavoidable, unless you want to give them 2 separate heads. Next up is the New Republic astromech droid, which has all unique pieces to this set. I think they look really good. The details on them are very nice. It's not very blurry or unprecise like old astromech droids are, meaning R2-D2, but it looks very good. The one thing I could say about it though is there is no printing on the other side of the torso. It is just a blank piece. And some people might say, oh, this isn't really unique. It is just a recoloring of the R2-D2. And to that I say, you probably are right. They are very similar, but you just got to remember they're both astromech droids, so they're pretty much all going to be the same except for some recoloring. Next up is Morgan Elsbeth, and she has 3 unique pieces, the only non-unique piece being the dress-type legs, where were made in 2018 and have been in 8 other sets so far. From the pictures I've seen and the little clips I've seen of the Ahsoka show, this minifigure does look really good. I really like how they did the red on the body. I'm really happy with the new red that they've introduced a little while ago. It looks very clean and fits this minifigure very well. The hair piece is really nice. It is very detailed and has a lot of texture, and the braid on the back looks very nice as well and has a lot of detail on it. This minifigure has a double-sided head, one being this side where she is a little angry and the other side being a neutral or a happy face, but I like having the mean face out because after all, she is a villain. Overall, I think the details and printing on this minifigure have no issues and look very nice. The only thing that's really undetailed is the legs, but she just wears a dress in the show, so it's kind of hard to make that very detailed. And they already have a piece for it, which looks pretty good already. Next up on the list is everybody's favorite villain, Shin Hati, and she is a completely unique minifigure in set and pieces alike. All of these pieces are newly printed, and the hair piece is a new model as well. The detail on this thing is great. It's unfortunate that with all of these minifigures we cannot get printed arms, as those seem to be only in the high end, which is the over $200 set price, which is unfortunate because it doesn't do these minifigures justice where they already have done such a great job everywhere else. The details on this minifigure are nice. The hair is very nicely textured and pretty accurate to the show from what I've seen. The body printing is very good. The leg printing is very good. It is very seamless and the lines line up correctly. The back of the minifigure also looks really great. The details on the buttons and clasps on the back also are very nice, and the back of the hair looks very good as well. And unfortunately, as with all of these minifigures, there is no print on the back of the legs. Now, for the head of this minifigure, there is this side, which is the calm and neutral, and the other side that they have for almost all of the villain minifigures, which is the angry face. I really like this minifigure. I think it is very good and pretty accurate to what she looks like in the show. However, I will say that in the show, her bleached hair is starting to fade out from the roots at the top, where they could have added a little bit of black to show that more accurately. Now, for the last minifigure in the set, we have the Balin Skull minifigure. And other than the hair being produced in 2019 in 5 other sets, the head, body, and legs are all unique to this Balin Skull minifigure. I think that this minifigure looks really good. The details are super nice. I don't know if you can see it that well on camera, but it does have the green bits on the body right there, along with the green belt buckle. The leg printing is super detailed, and I think the body printing is super detailed as well. I also think that they did a nice job on his face printing, although he does look a little like Count Dooku, but it's kind of hard to get around that as an old guy with a white beard. This minifigure's head is double-sided, one being the calm and neutral, and the other being, as per usual, the angry villain face. I think they also did a good job on the back printing for the body. Now, for the builds themselves, they each have 2 unique pieces, one being the cockpits, and for the E-Wing specifically, it is the blue 2x4 angled plates right here, one on each side. And for Shin Hati Starfighter, it is the cockpit right here, and also the red cockpit piece on the back right here. Now, we'll start off with talking about the build and the build techniques for the E-Wing. I think the E-Wing was a lot more difficult to build than the Shin Hati Starfighter because the Technic pieces on the wings are a lot more complicated than just putting together plates on the Shin Hati Starfighter. I did mess up a couple times and I forgot to put in some pieces, which involved a lot of taking apart and reworking and almost bending the Technic pieces and plates. But other than my own inability to build the set properly, I think that this one is the better looking Starfighter. The white on blue is super clean and makes this look very nice. I really like the wings as well, how these things can fold up and down, even though the set point is right there for it. After the build techniques, we got the stickers. There are 8 in this set, 1 being right here and right here. And since they are on both sides, we can just have 1 here on each side, 1 here on each side, and 1 here on each side. Now, it is unfortunate because white stickers on white pieces never really go that well. As you can see with this one right here, the white sticker is more white than the white piece, so you can most definitely tell very easily where the sticker ends and where the piece begins, and it kind of ruins the immersion for this being a mini E-Wing fighter. I will never really understand why they can't print some of these things, as you can see right there. If they can print minifigures to be that detailed, I think they can print pieces like this to be that detailed. It's not really that hard for them. The details on the minifigures are smaller than the details on those, so I don't really get it, other than it would be cheaper, but it's one less thing to make because you're just putting it on top of the piece. So it'll never make sense to me why they have stickers when they can print things with the ability that they have. It bothers me a lot. But other than the stickers, I think this build is beautiful. As I said earlier, I really do like the blue and white color scheme. The build is super nice. The back view of it is also really nice. I just think all around, as a display piece and a play piece, it looks really nice. Now for the play functions, you have as you can see there, the landing gear. And to put it away, to put it into flight mode, all you got to do is push these in. And for the front one here, you have a section right here where you just push it down and it goes almost flush with the build, ready for flight. Now, other than the landing gear, you have the stud shooters on either side, right there and right there. And I think that is about it for the play features. It's a little simple, but I do think it works very well. Now, my only really problem with the design of this thing is how the pilot sits inside of the cockpit. And I also have this problem more strongly with the Shin Hati's Starfighter. I will bring it up to show you, but they like to lay these minifigures back in the cockpits for some reason. So when you put it in there, you can't have him sit up straight. It hits the top. So what you have to do is you have to lay him all the way back like he's looking up and have him in there. I don't think they would, fly a ship like this. They'd have to fly it kind of like at an angle like that if it actually wanted to have them look forward. So I think it's a little unrealistic, and it does just look awkward having the pilot be all the way laid back. I think the most recent time they did this very well is when they had the Obi-Wan Starfighter. As you can see with the Obi-Wan Starfighter, he is sitting straight up looking out, but this thing has its own issues in itself that I won't bring up here. But you can just see the difference between where the pilot for the ship sits. This guy is upright, he's able to see straight forward, and this guy over here is just laying back. But really, other than where the pilot sits, I have no real issues with this thing. I think it looks super great. As I said earlier, the color scheme is very nice, and I really like all of the details and textures that they added into the wings with all of the white tiles and circle pieces, along with these tile pieces on either side as well. The next build is the Shin Hati's Starfighter. I really like the look of this thing. It looks super nice. It was pretty simple to build other than one part, which I'll get into later. But other than that one part, it was pretty simple. You're just putting plate on plate. There's no Technic connections or anything like that other than the one axle right here. Now, I really like the color scheme of this one and the E-Wing. It is set apart from all of the other Star Wars ships, which are pretty much just gray and black. So it really gives this unique and fresh vibe to the ships, which I really appreciate because then I get to own a set that looks cool like this. And after the building techniques, we have these stickers. This set has 4 stickers, one being right here on each side and the other 2 being this on each side. And although these stickers are bad, they are not as atrocious as white on white, but it is a little hard because you have the detail here, which is supposed to go into the red, but it stops at the gray because it is, after all, a sticker, which could have been solved by this being a printed piece all over the piece, so it doesn't have any issues of misalignment and misplacement by the person placing the sticker. Now, the play features on this ship are pretty simple. It only has 2, being the stud shooters and a place to put the lightsaber in the back of the cockpit. That's why it is like this, so you can put the lightsaber away while she is in flight. There are actually 3 play features in this build, the last one being where you take off this top part where the blasters are to hide away her own small blaster. And this is really easy to put back on. It is only connected by 2 studs, being here and here. So all you got to do is just place it back and push down right there, and voila, it is back on top. Now, the only real issue I have with this set, which is also entirely my fault, is with building this engine piece right here. As you can see, it is connected by 2 axle pieces that have 3 connections, and I really just couldn't figure out that you're supposed to just turn it so it's able to fit in there. I really struggled with that for a long time, but I couldn't figure out how a 90-degree connection would be able to create a 120-degree connection. That really just didn't make any sense to me, but it does look very good. It is a very nice piece, and all you got to do is just shove it back in there. But overall, I think this is a really nice build. I'm really happy that they also added the inverted tile pieces on the bottom, so you can glide it along a table like this without any scraping sounds or just ruining your tables. But yeah, it's a pretty simple one, but it is very, very nice to look at. And as I mentioned earlier, the cockpit is even more egregious on this one than the E-Wing because she is almost laying completely down with this one looking straight up. I don't know how you'd really fly a ship like this that's going this way. You'd kind of have to angle it so it looks like that, so you can fly forward, but you'd just be heading straight down. So if you really think about it when you're building this, it really just doesn't make any sense. I kind of understand that they didn't really have the space for it, but there's so much brick under here that they could have, put it down a little bit and then just reinforce the sides or something like that. I don't know. But it really is disappointing that when you have someone in the cockpit, it looks like that, because it just doesn't really make any sense when it looks like this. Overall, I think that this set is pretty good. For $110, you're getting 2 starships and 5 minifigures if you count the droid, or 4 minifigures and a droid. I think that this value is pretty good. The builds themselves both look very nice, and you get some great looking minifigures, along with them being some very popular characters in the Star Wars media. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.